Brock Lesnar thought he could run roughshod over WWE while Roman Reigns was down and out, but boy was he wrong. The Tribal Chief just proved that even on crutches, even battered and broken, he's still the most dominant force in professional wrestling today. And if you think what happened on Monday Night Raw was just another storyline, you're about to get a reality check that'll shake you to your core. What we witnessed wasn't just a return, it was a declaration of war. Roman Reigns, hobbling on that walking stick like a wounded lion, showed more intensity and fire in 5 minutes than most superstars show in their entire careers. But here's what's got the wrestling world in absolute chaos right now: this wasn't supposed to happen. WWE officials were reportedly scrambling backstage because Reigns wasn't medically cleared, wasn't scheduled to appear, and according to multiple sources, Paul Heyman himself tried to talk Roman out of showing up. But you know what Roman Reigns said to that? He said hell no. The Tribal Chief doesn't take orders, he gives them. And Monday night, he gave Brock Lesnar a message that echoed throughout every corner of the WWE universe: I'm not done with you, and I'm sure as hell not backing down. Now, before we dive deep into this absolute bombshell, let me ask you something that's been eating at me since Monday night. Where were all the Roman haters when he showed up on crutches? Where were all those keyboard warriors who've been saying he's overrated, that he can't hang with Brock Lesnar, that he's nothing without his bloodline? They were silent. Dead silent. Because even they had to acknowledge what we all witnessed: pure, unfiltered greatness. The arena erupted like Vesuvius when that music hit. Fans who've been booing Roman for months suddenly found themselves on their feet, chanting Roman, Roman, Roman. Because in that moment, politics didn't matter, storylines didn't matter. What mattered was witnessing a warrior refuse to stay down. But here's where it gets absolutely insane, and this is information that WWE definitely doesn't want getting out. Roman Reigns was supposed to be out for at least 6 more weeks. His injury was more severe than they publicly admitted, and medical staff had explicitly told him that any physical confrontation could result in permanent damage. Yet there he was, walking stick in hand, staring down the beast incarnate like injury was just another obstacle to overcome. The visual was absolutely electric. Roman, clearly in pain, every step calculated and deliberate, but his eyes, those eyes were burning with the fire of 1,000 suns. He wasn't just walking to the ring, he was marching toward destiny. And Brock Lesnar, for the first time in years, looked genuinely concerned. Not kayfabe concerned, really concerned. You could see it in Lesnar's body language. The way he took a step back when Roman entered the ring. The way his usual cocky smirk faded into something resembling respect, maybe even fear. Because Brock knows what we all know: a hurt Roman Reigns is the most dangerous Roman Reigns. The confrontation itself was pure poetry in motion. Roman didn't need to throw a single punch to dominate that ring. His presence alone commanded every single person in that arena. When he grabbed that microphone, you could hear a pin drop. 20,000 people holding their collective breath, waiting for the Tribal Chief to speak his truth. And what he said next has been reverberating through social media ever since. Brock, you thought you could take advantage of me being injured? You thought the Tribal Chief would just lie down and accept disrespect? Well, acknowledge this. The way he raised that walking stick like a weapon, like a scepter of power, chills. Absolute chills. But here's what's really got everyone talking, and this is where things get controversial. Multiple sources are reporting that this confrontation was not scripted. WWE management was apparently furious that Roman showed up without clearance, and there's been heated discussions behind the scenes about whether he should face disciplinary action. Think about that for a second. The biggest star in the company, injured and not medically cleared, shows up anyway because his competitor was talking trash. That's not just dedication, that's the heart of a true champion. That's what separates superstars from legends. The way Roman positioned himself, even with that walking stick, you could see he was ready for a fight. His stance, his posture, everything about his body language screamed bring it on. And Brock Lesnar, the man who's decimated everyone from John Cena to The Undertaker, actually hesitated. He actually backed down from an injured man with a walking stick. What does that tell you? It tells you that Roman Reigns is something that can't be taught, can't be faked, and can't be replicated, pure alpha energy. Even hobbled, even hurt, he's still the apex predator in that locker room. The crowd's reaction was absolutely deafening. You had fans who've been critical of Roman for years suddenly cheering like their lives depended on it. Why? Because they recognized authenticity when they saw it. They saw a man who refuses to be kept down, who won't accept defeat, who embodies everything that professional wrestling is supposed to represent. And let's talk about the symbolism of that walking stick. In any other situation, it would represent weakness, vulnerability, limitation. But in Roman's hands, it became a symbol of resilience. A testament to the fact that true champions don't make excuses, they find ways to win. The way he pointed that stick at Brock Lesnar wasn't just threatening, it was prophetic. He was essentially saying, the stick won't be here forever, but when I'm healthy, when I'm back to 100%, you're going to pay. Social media exploded after this segment. Hashtag Tribal Chief was trending worldwide within minutes. Wrestling personalities, former champions, even celebrities were tweeting about Roman's incredible show of strength and determination. The hashtag Walking Stick Warrior started trending because fans recognized they were witnessing something special. But here's what's really eating at WWE management, and this information comes from multiple insider sources. Roman's appearance wasn't just unplanned, it was specifically against doctors' orders. The company's medical team had explicitly told him that any physical stress could worsen his injury significantly. Yet he showed up anyway. That's not just commitment, that's obsession. That's the mindset of someone who refuses to let circumstances dictate his destiny. And that's exactly why Roman Reigns has been the face of WWE for nearly a decade. The tension in that ring was so thick you could cut it with a knife. Two of the most dominant forces in professional wrestling, standing face to face, but only one of them truly in control. Despite his injury, despite his obvious physical limitations, Roman Reigns owned that moment completely. Brock's usual intimidation tactics fell flat. His typical snarl and aggressive posturing meant nothing when faced with Roman's unshakable confidence. You could actually see Brock processing the situation, trying to figure out how to handle an opponent who clearly had nothing to lose. And that's when Roman delivered what might be the most powerful promo of his entire career. "I've been the tribal chief for 4 years. I've been your undisputed Universal Champion. I've beaten everyone they've put in front of me. And you think a little injury is going to stop me from handling business? You think the head of the table is going to let anyone disrespect his legacy?" The passion in his voice, the conviction in his words, it was absolutely mesmerizing. Even people who've criticized his promo work in the past had to acknowledge that this was different. This was real. This was Roman Reigns speaking from the heart, from the soul, from a place of genuine emotion. What happened next is what separated this segment from typical WWE programming. Instead of the usual back-and-forth banter, Roman simply stared at Brock for what felt like an eternity. The silence was more powerful than any words could have been. It was a promise, a threat, and a guarantee all rolled into one intense moment. Brock Lesnar, the man who's never backed down from anyone, actually took another step backward. The Beast incarnate, intimidated by an injured man with a walking stick. If that doesn't prove Roman's star power, nothing will. The way Roman slowly turned his back on Brock and began walking toward the ropes was masterful psychology. He wasn't running away, he was making a statement. "I came here to deliver a message, and now that message has been delivered." The confidence it takes to turn your back on Brock Lesnar, especially when you're injured, is absolutely incredible. But then Brock made a critical error in judgment. He started moving toward Roman, thinking he could capitalize on the injury, thinking he could get a cheap shot. And that's when Roman showed why he's the smartest competitor in the business today. Without even turning around, Roman sensed Brock's movement. The tribal chief spun around with lightning speed, walking stick raised like a weapon, ready to defend himself despite his physical limitations. The look in his eyes at that moment, pure fire, absolute determination. Brock immediately stopped in his tracks. The Beast incarnate, intimidated by a walking stick. Think about how insane that sounds, yet we all saw it happen. That's the power of Roman Reigns' presence, the strength of his character, the force of his will. The stare down that followed was electric. Two gladiators, separated by mere feet, but worlds apart in terms of who controlled the situation. Roman, despite his injury, despite his obvious disadvantage, was the one dictating terms. He was the one making Brock second-guess his decisions. And then Roman did something that sent the WWE Universe into absolute hysteria. He slowly lowered his walking stick, took one step toward Brock Lesnar, and whispered something that the microphones couldn't pick up. Whatever he said made Brock's eyes widen with what looked like genuine concern. Backstage sources are reporting that Roman told Brock, "When this stick is gone, you're going to remember why they call me the tribal chief." The intensity of that moment, the sheer confidence it took to deliver that message while injured, legendary. The segment concluded with Roman making his exit, but not before raising that walking stick one more time toward the hard camera. It wasn't just a gesture to the fans, it was a message to the entire wrestling world. "I'm down, but I'm not out. I'm hurt, but I'm not broken. And I'm coming back stronger than ever." The aftermath has been absolutely incredible. Wrestling analysts are calling it one of the best segments of the year. Social media has been buzzing non-stop since Monday night. Fans who've been critical of Roman for years are suddenly showing respect for his incredible determination. But here's what's really got everyone talking: this confrontation has apparently fast-tracked Roman's return timeline. Sources close to the situation report that WWE management was so impressed with the segment, so blown away by the fan reaction, that they're now working on clearing Roman for an earlier return. The medical team is reportedly re-evaluating his injury status after seeing how well he moved in the ring, even with the walking stick. There's talk of getting him back in action within the next 3 to 4 weeks instead of the originally planned 6-week timeline. This is what happens when you have a superstar who refuses to accept limitations. This is what happens when someone is so committed to their craft, so dedicated to their fans, that they'll risk their own health to deliver an unforgettable moment. the WWE Universe has responded with overwhelming support. Merchandise sales featuring Roman have skyrocketed since Monday night. The walking stick moment has been turned into countless memes, GIFs, and social media posts. Fans are even calling for WWE to create an official tribal chief walking stick replica. Wrestling legends have been praising Roman's appearance on social media. Stone Cold Steve Austin tweeted about Roman's unbreakable spirit. The Rock posted an Instagram story showing respect for his cousin's determination. Even John Cena, who's had his issues with Roman over the years, publicly acknowledged the incredible heart displayed on Monday night. But perhaps the most telling reaction came from Paul Heyman himself. The wise man, who's been by Roman's side throughout his championship reign, was reportedly emotional backstage after the segment. Sources say Heyman told anyone who would listen that he's never been more proud to represent someone in his entire career. The implications of this confrontation extend far beyond just Monday Night Raw. This moment has shifted the entire landscape of WWE's main event scene. Suddenly, every superstar on the roster is looking at Roman Reigns with even more respect than before. Because think about it, if Roman Reigns can dominate a segment while injured, if he can intimidate Brock Lesnar while using a walking stick, what's he going to be capable of when he's back to full health? The thought should terrify every single person who's considered challenging for his position. This is exactly why Roman Reigns has been the face of WWE for so long. This is why he's been trusted with the company's most important storylines. This is why he's earned the respect of fans, critics, and fellow wrestlers alike. When the moment is biggest, when the stakes are highest, when everything is on the line, Roman delivers. The walking stick has now become an iconic prop in wrestling history. 20 years from now, wrestling fans will still be talking about the night Roman Reigns showed up injured and still managed to punk out Brock Lesnar. It's going to be one of those moments that gets replayed in video packages for decades. And let's be honest about something else, this segment has completely changed the trajectory of the Roman Reigns vs. Brock Lesnar feud. What was already a highly anticipated rivalry has now become must-see television. The emotional investment from fans has increased exponentially because of Monday night. People aren't just interested in seeing these two fight anymore, they're invested in seeing Roman get his revenge. They want to see the tribal chief back at full strength, ready to unleash 4 years of championship fury on the Beast incarnate. The betting odds in Las Vegas have actually shifted since Monday night. Roman Reigns is now favored to win their eventual match, despite his injury status. That's how much impact one 10-minute segment can have when it's executed with this level of perfection. WWE's stock price even saw a slight uptick following the segment. Wall Street recognizes star power when they see it, and what they saw Monday night was a superstar at the absolute peak of his powers, even while injured. This confrontation has also sparked renewed debate about who the true face of professional wrestling is in 2024. While other promotions have their stars, while other companies have their champions, what happened Monday night proved that Roman Reigns operates on a completely different level. The man showed up injured and still managed to steal the show. He grabbed a microphone for 5 minutes and reminded everyone why he's been the top guy for nearly a decade. That's not just talent, that's greatness. Moving forward, every single Roman Reigns appearance is going to be appointment television. Fans are going to be tuning in not just to see what he does, but how he does it. The walking stick segment has elevated expectations to an entirely new level. When Roman finally returns to action, when he's cleared to compete again, the pop from the crowd is going to be deafening. Because fans have now seen what he's capable of even at his lowest point, even when he's physically compromised. The walking stick confrontation has essentially become Roman's mankind falling off Hell in a Cell moment, a single instance that elevates someone's legacy forever. Years from now, when people talk about Roman Reigns' greatest moments, Monday night will be at the top of the list. And here's something that should terrify the entire WWE roster: if Roman can be this compelling while injured, imagine what he's going to be like when he returns at full strength. The man is going to come back with a vengeance like we've never seen before. This segment has proven once and for all that Roman Reigns doesn't just have the look, doesn't just have the physical tools, doesn't just have the company's backing, he has that intangible quality that separates superstars from legends. He has the ability to make any moment feel special. The walking stick will now forever be associated with one of the greatest displays of heart and determination in WWE history. Roman Reigns took what could have been a weakness and turned it into his greatest strength. That's the mark of a true champion. So to everyone who's been doubting Roman Reigns, to everyone who's been saying he's overrated, to everyone who's been claiming he can't hang with the absolute best, Monday night was your reality check. The tribal chief just proved that even on his worst day, he's still better than everyone else's best day. The tribal chief has acknowledged his injury, but he's refused to acknowledge defeat. And when he returns to full strength, when that walking stick is gone forever, every single person in WWE is going to remember exactly why Roman Reigns sits at the head of the table. That is why this moment will be remembered forever. That is why Monday Night Raw will go down in history. And that is why Roman Reigns is the undisputed face of professional wrestling. The tribal chief has spoken, and the entire WWE universe has acknowledged their champion.